reaffirmed to the Supreme Court the battle over his nomination is not over. And a candidate running for Florida governor cancels all campaign events ahead of Hurricane Michael. Your Suncoast News starts now.
Watching ABC 7 News at noon.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping our news at this hour, Hurricane Michael continues to strengthen and is now forecast to become a major hurricane before landfall in the Florida Panhandle. Let's get over to First Alert meteorologist John Scalzi for the latest track of the storm and its potential impacts here on the Suncoast. John?
Yeah, we mentioned to you last week that this storm could rapidly change, rapidly develop, and rapidly make landfall at the beginning of this work week, and that is certainly the case. The changes in the forecast over the last 24 hours have been kind of significant. We now have a hurricane, which was anticipated. The strengthening of the hurricane, though, continues to bring it now to a major category status as opposed to the category 2 status with the last model that was put out. By 8 p.m. on Tuesday, it will start to make its closest pass by us, but still about 250 miles out in Gulf waters. And then as it lifts northward, making a bullseye for somewhere on the northern Gulf Coast, probably between anywhere from Cedar Key all the way back toward the Florida Panhandle. Probably Wednesday evening making landfall, maybe Wednesday afternoon. It'll bring swells to the Gulf Coast as well, increasing our storm surge potential in a minor amount. It certainly will continue to remain far enough offshore that our effects will be kind of secondary, I guess you could say. All computer models continue to suggest heading toward the north, and in fact, the official forecast track is a little to the east of this guidance. I'd like to see the actual storm track further to the west. That would be a kind of a nice thing. But again, areas around the Carolinas will probably be impacted to this storm with another perhaps 6 inches to 8 inches of rainfall, something they certainly don't need. For us locally, we do have some watches and warnings up. We have a tropical storm watch up for our area from Inglewood northward in Gulf waters and in Tampa Bay waters. We have a tropical storm watch up for land areas in Manatee County from I-75 eastward to the Gulf waters. And we have a storm surge watch up for Tampa Bay waters and for coastal Manatee County as well. We also have a high surf advisory, we have a rip current advisory, and we have a small craft advisory up for our area waters. So we'll watch for that. There could be adjustments to these watches as we head into the next 24 hours, certainly. Storm risk, I believe the strongest effects from this storm for us will be the potential of some severe storms. Can't rule that out completely. With hurricanes, some of the outer bands coming on shore can spawn off quick tornadoes, though that is not particularly in the forecast. It is certainly a possibility. Damaging winds, that chance is pretty low. I think we'll probably see minimal tropical storm force winds along the coastal regions of Manatee County at worst. Heavy rains are certainly a possibility, and rough seas are absolutely a possibility. We'll talk about these risks in further detail coming up in a few, Scott.
All right, John, thank you so much. A tropical storm and storm surge watch now in effect, as John just showed us, for parts of the Suncoast. Governor Rick Scott declaring a state of emergency ahead of Hurricane Michael. The state of emergency covers 26 counties in the Florida Panhandle and the Big Bend areas. ABC 7's Marla Spence joins us now with how the state is preparing. Marla?
Well, Scott, right now the state's Emergency Operations Center is activated and all hands are on deck for Hurricane Michael. Just less than 2 hours ago, Michael upgraded from a tropical storm to a Category 1 hurricane. Right now, a team from FEMA is here in state to provide federal assistance with storm preparations in counties likely to feel the harsh effects of the hurricane. At least 6 state agencies and 26 local agencies across the state are now preparing. Governor Scott has also activated 500 National Guard troops, and the Florida Highway Patrol is also preparing to activate more than 340 state troopers in 12-hour shifts. Earlier this morning, a tropical storm and storm surge watch was issued for parts of southwest Florida. Today, at a press briefing, Governor Scott stressed how severe storm surge could get in our state. He says it's likely to reach between 7 to 11 feet.
This storm will be life-threatening and extremely dangerous. If the storm hits in Panama City, Tampa will still see a life-threatening storm surge. You cannot hide from storm surge, so get prepared and get out if an evacuation is ordered. Every family must be prepared. Remember, we can rebuild your house, but we cannot rebuild your life. Take this seriously and keep your family safe.
And Governor Scott says he will be expanding the state of emergency order today to include more counties in the state. You can stay up to date on the hurricane on our app and our website, mysuncoast.com. Scott?
All right, Marla, thank you so much. Now, here at home, parts of the Suncoast are expected to experience tropical storm force winds from Hurricane Michael as it makes its way through the Gulf of Mexico. ABC 7's Jess Dowdrick joins us now with how the area is preparing. Jess?
Scott, as we said, Anna Maria Island and some areas north of that are in a tropical storm and storm surge watch. But if the storm shifts even slightly, more of the Suncoast could be impacted. Manatee County Emergency Management is in what they call partial activation mode, as strong winds are expected tonight and tomorrow. Now, first responders will be ready if they're needed. In Sarasota County, they're expecting to be spared if the hurricane takes the track that it's expected to. Emergency Management Chief Ed McCrane says Sarasota will get about 1 to 3 inches of rain and some rough surf.
Whenever you have a storm that's paralleling the coast, we have to be very careful because obviously things can change. If it slows down, if it widens, we could be getting the effects of the winds a little bit stronger. But right now, the Weather Service says we don't anticipate any tropical storm force winds, just a breezy conditions and some rain.
Right now in Manatee County, their interim emergency management chief is addressing the media about what the county's plans are as Hurricane Michael makes landfall in the Panhandle and how they're going to handle it here locally on the Suncoast. You can catch that press conference live on our Facebook page, or if you missed that, our reporter Erica Jackson will have the story tonight at 4 o'clock. Scott.
Jess, thank you so much. A Florida gubernatorial candidate is putting his campaign on hold for 2 days ahead of Michael. Democrat Andrew Gillum suspending his campaign events today and tomorrow so he can focus on storm preparations. Michael expected to impact Tallahassee, where Gillum is the mayor. But it's still unclear if Gillum's GOP rival, former Representative Ron DeSantis, is changing his campaign plans. We have some tips on staying prepared on our app and also a hurricane guide that you can print on our website. Just go to mysuncoast.com. Now, if you haven't registered to vote for this year's general election, the deadline is tomorrow. It may take a few weeks for your new voter registration card to arrive in the mail. However, you don't need a card to vote. You will need, though, some other sort of identification. After a contentious confirmation battle, the Senate's vote to confirm Judge Brett Kavanaugh this weekend means the swing seat on the Supreme Court has been filled by someone Americans are still sharply divided on. ABC's Stephanie Ramos reports from Washington.
Judge Brett Kavanaugh is officially ready to sit on the Supreme Court after being confirmed by the narrowest margin in nearly 140 years, taking the oath the same day. Angry protests consistent throughout the week and continued over the weekend. Kavanaugh, a known conservative, now tipping the balance of the court, something then candidate Trump pledged would lead to a change in abortion law.
If we put another 2 or perhaps 3 justices on, that's really what's going to be, will happen. And that'll happen automatically, in my opinion, because I am putting pro-life justices on the court.
Republican Senator Susan Collins, who cast the crucial vote for Kavanaugh, told 60 Minutes she is very comfortable with her decision to support him despite the sexual assault allegations that nearly tanked his nomination.
I would have voted no if I disbelieved Judge Kavanaugh. But given his denials and the lack of evidence that this happened, I just did not think that it was fair to ruin the life of this distinguished judge.
Some Democrats are talking about the possibility of impeaching Kavanaugh if the party wins back the House in November. But they're making the midterm election, which is only a month away, their main priority.
The bottom line is that they may have the power right now, but we need to take it back.
Judge Kavanaugh will begin hearing cases at the Supreme Court tomorrow. He says he plans to hire all women clerks. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
ABC 7 business commentator Richard Stern joins us now. The check of the day on Wall Street so far. And stocks moving lower to start the new week.
Unfortunately, Scott, you're right. It's kind of a carryover from what we saw late last week. And speaking of last week, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, frankly, finished the week with almost no change. But I can't say the same for the NASDAQ and the S&P. Both finished lower, and frankly, the NASDAQ has been struggling for the better part of a couple of weeks now. What's the problem? Well, we're certainly seeing an increase in interest rates. We're seeing the 10-year U.S. Treasury going between about 3.2 and 3.25%, and many people now are looking at bonds as a possible alternative to common stocks. I said possible. That said, let's take a look and see how the market's doing as we speak. There you see the Dow down 75 points, almost 0.3%, at 26,372.32. That on volume of 419 million shares. The NASDAQ still lagging the pack, down 0.8%, down 65 points at 7,723.65. That on volume of 743 million shares. And the S&P follows suit. All three down. The S&P down just over 9 points, exactly 1/3% at 2,876.17. Well, Walmart is getting into the business of television and movies. Yes, I did say Walmart is getting in. They're going to compete with Netflix, or try to, and compete with Hulu, or try to. Walmart will be joining forces with MGM, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. They're going to be producing television shows which are said to be having family-friendly content. And again, they hope to compete head-on with Netflix. We'll have to see how well that goes. Walmart for 8 years has owned a company called Vudu, V-U-D-U, which obviously has to do with video, but we're going to have to see how that turns out. Right now, the market on Walmart is pretty much unchanged. But boy, that whole digital area and the whole streaming, and Scott, as you know, the whole world of our business is changing almost by the day.
It is, yeah. It's hard to keep up. Definitely.
Absolutely so.
Your workshops begin tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, absolutely right. Our workshops start tomorrow. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow morning and also on Wednesday afternoon, and they have to do with two very important things. One of them is planning for the year 2019. The 2018 tax law changes have been significant, and there you see year-end planning, lots of issues with gifting, etc. In 2019, can the bull run continue? It's tomorrow morning at 10. It's Wednesday afternoon at 1:30. Still time to RSVP, 906-2838, 906-2838. And Scott, the market keeps doing its thing, so we'll have plenty to talk about.
Absolutely. We'll see you later today.
I'll be here.
Okay. See you at 5. Thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you.
Still to come in your Suncoast News, how children clean their hands could cut back on how often they miss a day of school. The story coming up.
The ABC 7 Stock Report is sponsored by Sunset Cadillac.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gatto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gatto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gatto location near you or visit Gatto.com.
Gattle's got it.
Rugs as Art. You know the name, you know the building, but do you know what's inside? Yes, Rugs as Art is Florida's #1 area rug superstore, but there is so much more. Amazing furniture, accessories, and art. All this and more. Come see for yourself. You'll love our personal touch and be pleasantly surprised by our affordable prices. Rugs as Art and more. There is so much more to explore.
Ready to open up new opportunities as an electrician? Don't do it yourself. Team up with Mr. Sparky instead. We're locally owned and looking for people like you. We offer our electricians great perks that you just won't get going it alone. And whether you're an apprentice, a master electrician, or somewhere in between, we have a spot for you.
Best decision I ever made.
Apply online or call today.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Excuse me a minute. Hi, Dad. No, don't try to get up.
Hi, I'm Julie, a right-at-home caregiver. And if I'd been caring for Tom's dad, I would have noticed some dizziness that could lead to balance issues. That's because I'm trained to report any changes in behavior, no matter how small, so Tom could have peace of mind.
We'll be right there. We have to go.
Hey, Tom, you should try Right at Home. They're great for us.
The right care, right at home.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
It's already been a breezy day here on the Sun Coast. We have an east wind coming in at about 20. The fact that we have increased the probability of the storm becoming a major hurricane out in the Gulf waters also increases our probability along the Sun Coast of seeing some tropical storm force winds as we head into particularly tomorrow night, but also Wednesday as well. 83 degrees the current air temperature. A little bit of cloud cover out there will hold down our daytime high temperatures. Dew point rising at 74. We'll continue to watch that dew point rise as our winds turn south and then eventually southwest right off of Gulf waters. 60% chance of seeing some storms around today. Showers and a few thunderstorms, certainly not out of the question. That threat continues into the evening hours, and we'll probably relax that a little bit during the overnight, but it'll be right back again tomorrow. We have plenty of showers coming in riding on that easterly wind flow. While not precisely involved in the circulation around Michael, these storms are riding on an enhanced east wind due to a high pressure ridge out in the Atlantic and Michael down to the south. Bands down to the south of us are indeed part of the circulation that is beginning to form around Michael, and we'll continue to watch that become closer and closer to us as we head into the next 24 hours, enhancing our rainfall chance and the potential of some heavy rainfall across the Sun Coast. 75-mile-an-hour winds currently moving north still at 7 miles per hour. The forward motion of this storm is very important to us because the slower the storm moves, and one model does have it at a much slower forward speed than two of the other important models. So if it does take that slower motion, then we have a better chance of seeing some erosion effects from the waves that propagate outward from the center along our beaches, which of course we don't want to see. The faster the storm moves, the less that risk becomes. Still, its forecast track is about 250 miles, 200 miles or so out away from our Gulf waters to the center of the storm, so that the likelihood of seeing any kind of really strong damaging winds, not very high here on the Sun Coast, but still we're going to get a good blow out of this storm, no doubt about it, particularly tomorrow night through Wednesday morning, and particularly along extreme coastal regions, Anna Maria Island, Holmes Beach, northern parts of Manatee County along the Tampa Bay waters as well. Category 3 storm, 120-mile-an-hour winds possible as it makes landfall in the Panhandle and then moves out into coastal Carolinas, where it can produce again more heavy rainfall. This is the hurricane wind forecast, and the hurricane winds stay offshore of us in this model, but another one showing the tropical storm force winds, the higher end tropical storm force winds, also keep it just off the coast. But if you go down a little bit to the lower end tropical storm force winds, you'll notice that we do have that potential along our coast. And in fact, we could see some sustained winds right along the immediate coast of 25 to 30 miles an hour with gusts as high as 35, or we could see sustained tropical storm force winds of 35 to 40 right along the immediate coast for a brief period of time. In this area shaded in yellow right here in Manatee County, we have a 30 to 40% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds. Most other places, Sarasota County, inland areas, I think we're looking at 15 to 20 mile an hour winds with some gusts as high as 30. So this is not the kind of a windstorm that's going to do terrible damage to structures, but it will push some water up on shore, and it will sling around some rain shower bands as well. As the storm lifts northward, some of these bands could contain some brief tornadoes. It's possible, but it's more than likely that we'll see the non-violent storms and the potential for some fairly heavy rainfall, maybe picking up 1 to 3 inches of rain over the course of a 24 to 48 48-hour period. So we'll have to watch for that as well as the storm lifts northward. Tidal heights will probably increase by 1 or 2 feet. Depends on how strong that storm gets and what its forward motion is. We'll be monitoring that. We'll look for a 60% chance of showers today, and then Tuesday, particularly Tuesday night into Wednesday all day, we'll be looking at a 90% chance of storms. And as I said, some of that rain could be heavy, gusty along the coastline. Maybe some high surf, certainly some high surf, maybe some higher tide heights that cause some washover onto beach roads and such. We'll be watching for that. And then as the storm system lives north, we return to more seasonable weather as we head into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Back to you.
All right, John, thank you. Using hand sanitizer may keep young kids healthier. Researchers in Spain examined hand hygiene among young children in a daycare. They studied more than 900 children up to age 3 at 24 daycare centers. During the 8-month study period, they found children who used hand sanitizer instead of washing with soap and water reduced their sick days, respiratory infections, and antibiotic prescriptions. So it's time for lunch now. Let's get over to the kitchen and say hello to JR from JR's Old Packing House Cafe in Sarasota. JR, great to have you back in our kitchen. What are you fixing for us today?
Today we've all gone to the store and found those beautiful harvest vegetables. So we got some of those today. We roasted them today, and then we have 2 versions we're going to present. One is just roasted without the dairy products, and one with. I think that'd be quite a nice dish for today.
There are lots of people who are confused about which Medicare plan is right for them.
Hey, that's me. I barely know where to start.
Well, start here with me, Karen. I'm a licensed Humana sales agent.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Karen. I'm John Smith.
Hi, John. At Humana, we know you're unique, so you have different needs from other John Smiths.
Yeah, I've always thought so.
And together, we can find a plan that's right for you.
Great. I go to the doctor a couple of times a year, and I have some prescriptions, but I'm never fully sure of what's covered and what's not.
With Humana's all-in-one Medicare Advantage plans, you get coverage for hospital stays, doctor visits, and Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable and sometimes no monthly plan premium.
Do you have any more information?
Sure. I'll get a decision guide in the mail to you today. They're free.
Finally, someone who understands the real me.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide. Call a licensed Humana sales agent today.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
When ABC7 declares a First Alert Weather Day, it means we can expect major changes to weather conditions here along the Suncoast.
It means there could be severe, potentially dangerous weather ahead.
We tell you when a First Alert Weather Day is coming because we want you to be prepared.
A First Alert Weather Day is an advance warning. We'll let you know about any changes in the weather when the first signs appear.
ABC7 First Alert Weather, we're here for you.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining. Watch Suncoast View weekdays at 9 a.m. on ABC7.
Without delay, let's get right over to the kitchen and check in again with John, who's with JR from JR's Old Packing House Cafe. John?
Indeed, always a pleasure having JR in the kitchen, cooking up a storm and encouraging us to enjoy the winter harvests that are already taking place in some locations.
So we got some squashes today, and you can basically just peel them, roast them, and put them in the oven with salt and pepper, and they're pretty tasty all by themselves. However, if you're a meat eater like myself, and I'm like, not so much sport, let's try something else. So we can do, we're gonna start off here with some garlic, some shallots, to give it kind of a base flavor to it. So if you just do the roasted version, you can keep it quite lactose free. Or you can do the other version, which by doing all this, that is a little organic vegetable stock.
So it looked like you were making a roux there. Is that what,
that's
what you were doing?
Yeah, we're going to start off with a roux.
All right. And then adding a little broth, maybe, what is that, a vegetable broth? Or?
Organic vegetable broth, because we're going to stay organic and veggie.
And then a little cooking wine on top of that?
Yeah, something we can taste while we're doing this, so it enhances our tasting pleasures later on.
Now, is this the sauce that you're making to roast the vegetables in, or something that you can add to them?
This is added to. This is if you're not lactose intolerant.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. And then from this point on.
So you added a little cream there.
A little heavy cream, and we're just basically making a bechamel with cheese, or cheese bechamel sauce.
And there you added some smoked Gouda?
No, we're going to roast. We're going to put that last, and we're going to bake that on there.
So what kind of cheese did you add there?
Oh, we added Parmesan. We added some mozzarella. We're adding an egg yolk again for the meat eater. Here we go. And that basically does that. We're going to add a little pasta to make it a little more hearty for those folks that like it a little bit heartier.
Can't go wrong with pasta.
And then you can just serve it as is, out of the oven. Salt, pepper, garlic. Or you can mix it all up together. And then, if you're a smoked Gouda person like myself and can't find enough excuses to eat it, you just put some smoked Gouda and put it back in the oven. And, or you can put it right here on your thing, your saute pan. And it comes out quite like that. And it's served quite just like that. Now, if it gets a little bit dry, as you're seeing, we can add a little more of this. Or we can add a little more veggie stock if you drink all the wine. This is why it's good to have a little veggie stock in case you drink all the wine before you finish the dish. But, and then, yes. Oh, by the way, in case it's getting a little too healthy for you, we can add little breadcrumbs to it too.
Oh, that sounds good.
And then you can stick it all in the oven. And
how long would you leave it in the oven for?
Just till brown, so about 15 to 20 minutes. Depends on how crispy you like. I like mine a little crispy. My family doesn't, so they would go more like.
Then I guess it comes out looking about like that?
Yes, and then we'll put some green.
Absolutely delicious.
On top.
And the recipe for this is on our website, mysuncoast.com. Click on the dining link button, and it'll take you right there. JR's Packing House, sir, thank you very much. That looks absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Your last chance for 2018 Honda Accords on sale is now during our model year-end sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American car of the year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for Accords, all on sale this week at your local Honda dealer.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now.
WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
Hunger is a growing problem in our area, and a huge number of Suncoast residents are suffering in silence.
It could be your coworker,
your child's classmate,
or your friend fighting to secure their next meal. But you can help.
ABC7 is partnering with local organizations to help feed the Suncoast.
Go to mysuncoast.com/hunger to join the fight. Help us.
Help the hungry.
ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
Coming up, Florida under a state of emergency ahead of Hurricane Michael. John Scalzi will have the latest forecast track and what we can expect here. Plus, the investigation into a deadly limo crash in upstate New York that killed 20 people. And a Florida sheriff's deputy accused of sexual battery on one of his own trainees.
You're watching ABC7 News at 12:30.
Welcome back. I'm Scott Dennis. Topping our news this half hour, Hurricane Michael expected to strengthen into a major storm later this week in the Gulf of Mexico. Meteorologist John Scalzi joins us now with the latest. John?
Yeah, one of the things that's happened in the last 24 hours is that the center of circulation of this system has moved right over top of some big thunderstorms. It's kind of reformed. And as that has happened, it has strengthened significantly. As it moves through the strait and into Gulf waters, it's going to enter into an area that's even more conducive for development, with some of the warmest waters anywhere to be found in the Gulf of Mexico. And that is going to really send this storm into a rapid intensification mode. Right now, it's got 75-mile-an-hour winds. It's moving to the north at about 7. We want to keep this storm moving quickly. It'll make landfall within 2 days, 2.5 days. So, as I mentioned last week, when things develop in the Caribbean and move into the Gulf at this time of year, things happen very quickly. And that's what's going to happen here as a Category 1 storm rapidly intensifies and develops into perhaps a Category 3 storm with 120-mile-an-hour winds. Major hurricane on the way up to the Florida Panhandle, Big Bend region, Cape San Blas. And you notice the concave coastline that we have here and here on the northern Gulf Coast. That is not good for storm surge. All that water just collects right into that concave cup, if you will, of land. And that is going to lead to some very serious storm surge issues across the northern Gulf Coast. That then rapidly moves out into the Atlantic as a cold front actually approaches, and that cold front may move into our area as we head into Friday or Saturday. We still have some watches up for our area. These are tropical storm watches for our area waters from Inglewood northward and include Tampa Bay. We also have storm surge watches for coastal Manatee County and a tropical storm watch up for Manatee County from I-75 to the east. It is possible that we will see some stronger winds as the storm lifts northward Tuesday night in through Wednesday day. And along the coastline, we may actually reach tropical storm force. At least tropical storm gusts is certainly not out of the question. And it's also going to be a very wet couple of days as the feeder bands from the storm move across the region. We'll talk about that and talk about what else to expect with this system coming up in just a few, Scott.
John, thank you. A state of emergency is now in effect in 26 Florida counties across the Panhandle. Governor Rick Scott making that declaration in preparation for Hurricane Michael. Could be that major hurricane by the time it makes landfall later this week, as you just saw. The state of emergency allows resources to move quicker to every community.
We know that storms like Michael can be absolutely devastating and life-threatening, and that's why we all have to take this very seriously. Families should take this opportunity to get 3 days of food and water and make sure all medications are ready. Check on your neighbors and listen to local officials.
Right now, 5,500 National Guard members are standing by. State officials are also getting in contact with healthcare facilities to make sure they're prepared. If you need some help preparing, just go to our website, mysuncoast.com. Look under the Weather and Hurricane Center tabs. You'll find a link to our 1-hour hurricane special and also have access to our printable hurricane guide with great information inside. A new climate change report says unprecedented changes need to be made to combat global warming. Well, world leaders commissioned that report as part of the 2015 Paris Agreement. It focuses on what could happen to the planet if global temperatures rise above 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Countries in the southern hemisphere would be among the worst off. To combat the temperature rise, global net emissions of carbon dioxide would need to fall by 45% from 2010 levels by the year 2030, and then reach net zero levels around the year 2050. Starting today, Mote Marine Lab will be sampling areas across the west coast of the state to analyze the amount of red tide toxins in the air. Scientists say past research reveals the toxins in the air can travel more than 2 miles inland. And with this recent bloom, people have complained of respiratory issues even further than that. Also because of red tide, the city of Sarasota announced a 7th extension to the local state of emergency. That order first went into effect back in August. The investigation into a deadly limo crash near Albany, New York continues today. We're learning more about some of the 20 people killed in that crash. And there are new questions about the safety record of the limousine company. ABC's Kendis Gibson has the latest.
This morning, a community left reeling after the country's worst transportation accident in nearly a decade.
Multiple ambulances, folks, midlife on standby.
The accident killing 20 people on a highway west of Albany. Investigators say a limousine ran a stop sign, plowing through an intersection and slamming into an SUV parked at a restaurant.
I heard this loud bang, and then I heard screaming. I walked up and I could see this large van, very unusual looking vehicle, in the bushes and really wrecked.
2 pedestrians and all 18 people in the limousine were killed. Barbara Douglas lost several relatives in the crash. She says the limo was carrying a group of people to a 30th birthday party.
I had 4 nieces. They're all dead. They were in there.
Karina Hall says her sister Amanda was also in the limo. She said she knew something was wrong when her sister wasn't texting her back.
I'd been texting her all day. I just knew something was off when she wasn't replying to me right away.
Department of Transportation records indicate the company has a troubled past. In just the last 2 years, the company has been inspected 5 times, resulting in vehicles taken out of service 4 out of those 5 times. Kendis Gibson, ABC News, New York.
A Sarasota man charged with video voyeurism is now on administrative leave from Charlotte County Fire Rescue. Perry Carter, a firefighter, was arrested Friday on 8 counts of recording video of his 23-year-old house sitter without her consent. Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies say Carter set up a hidden camera in the master bathroom of his home. The videos were taken while he and his wife were on vacation and the victim was watching their home. The incident report says Carter's wife found naked pictures on his cell phone and computer before notifying the house sitter. Charlotte County Fire Rescue officials say Carter has been placed on leave and an internal investigation is now being conducted. A Florida Sheriff's deputy has resigned after being charged with groping a trainee. The Polk County Sheriff's Office says Scott Walker was arrested Friday and charged with sexual battery and false imprisonment. Investigators say Walker met with the male trainee last Wednesday so he could help him write reports. The affidavit says afterward, Walker demanded a sex act and then sexually battered him. Investigators say Walker became concerned someone knew what was happening and then let the trainee go. 27 migrants from Cuba came ashore in South Florida last night. The U.S. Coast Guard said some were children. U.S. Border Patrol arresting 15 people, but some may have escaped. One witness said they traveled for many days in a homemade wooden boat.
When you get there, you know, there's like 20, 30 people inside the boat and they're all getting out. You know, people have been there out there for 8 days. It wasn't old. It wasn't a boat. You know, you would think, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, they made it out of their hands. One of them told me he was there working on it for 3 weeks at in his house, you know, working on that boat.
Paramedics treated 13 of the Cubans, but none needed to be taken to a hospital. Border Patrol agents say the 15 who were arrested will be processed and most likely will face deportation. A Booker High School student turned to art when a rare stomach ailment kept her home from school on and off for 2 years. And what happened next could be a made-for-TV movie. ABC 7's Ray Collins joins us with her story today. Ray?
Hey, Scott. Nicole Colton missed a lot of middle school due to a stomach illness. Her mother challenged her to find an activity during her downtime. That's when her talent in art went from good to award-winning. Last summer, Nicole took second place in an art show among some of the area's best adult artists at the Art Center of Sarasota. This is the painting that turned heads. It's called Rose Candy Apple. She also won other countywide student art competitions. Nicole and her mother, Michelle, stopped by our station earlier today to talk about her amazing transformation during her illness and recovery.
Well, I was always kind of into art ever since I was little. And when I did have downtime, I used it to pursue the art.
Really just hoping after her surgery she would just be in the world again and amongst friends and school, and she's really excelled so much on all levels, and of course including her art.
So as for the future, she'll always have her art, but for now the Booker High School student is thinking about a future in medicine. Despite missing all that school, Nicole is still a straight A student. Scott, back to you.
Great story. Thank you so much, Ray. Still to come in your Suncoast News, we'll tell you how you can get to the election polls for free right after this.
Picking out a new ceiling fan? That's a do-it-yourself. Installing your new ceiling fan?
No.
That's a don't do-it-yourself. For ceiling fans, rewires, or anything electrical, play it safe. And call on the trained electricians from your locally owned Mr. Sparky. It's no accident that so many of our customers are repeat customers. Trust Mr. Sparky for all your electrical repairs.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do.
Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000.
Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
Blue 32! Blue 32! Hut hut! It's the Gettle Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gettle dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gettle location near you or visit Gettle.com.
Gettle's got it.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC 7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blog, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
We're watching a temperature currently at 83 degrees at a dew point value of 74. East wind has been just so breezy today, coming in at about 20, and we're not really even in the thick of it yet. Gusts higher than that. As we head into the next couple of days, we'll watch those wind speeds possibly increasing to as much as tropical storm force along our area coastlines. Also, rain chances will be going up. Today, they're at 60% this afternoon. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see 100% rain chance by the time we get to Wednesday or even late Tuesday night. So we're seeing a few scattered showers now moving in toward Arcadia, some of them producing some pretty good rainfall. That's all gradually drifting off to the north and to the west at a pretty good clip. It's really not precisely part of the circulation around Michael, but it is part of a strong east wind caused by a high pressure ridge in the Atlantic and the developing low pressure area that is Michael down to our south. So the combination of those two things bring a pretty strong easterly wind all across the peninsula of Florida. Now, as we head into the next day or two, we're going to watch some of these actual feeder bands from Michael start to lift northward, and we'll see our winds start to shift a little bit. Right now, coming in out of the east for the most part at about 20, we'll watch them shift a little bit more southerly as the storm system builds and starts moving into Gulf waters. Eventually, even southeasterly. Or southwesterly rather. When we get that southwesterly wind, that's when we're going to be watching our tides very carefully, especially in areas around Tampa Bay as we start to push water back up into Tampa Bay and increase our tide gauges, probably 1 to 2 feet above the normal astronomical high tide. That occurring, well, we'll give you those tides in just a second. Michael coming in with 75-mile-an-hour wind speeds now, becoming more organized, showing banding features, perhaps the beginnings of an eye wall visible on some of the visible satellite imagery now. Forecast to become a Category 3 storm as it lifts up toward the northern panhandle. This is going to be a very, very serious storm with serious storm surge threats for the northern Gulf Coast in these concave areas of the coastline where the water will just pile up. They could see some 10-foot storm surge there. And then the storm system rapidly moves out into the Atlantic off the Carolina coast as we head into Thursday and Friday. Wind speeds for us will start to increase. These are for minimal tropical storm force winds, about 39 miles an hour or so. And we're looking at a 30 to 40% chance of seeing some of those winds along our immediate coastline from about Inglewood northward and then on up into parts of coastal Manatee County west of the interstate weather. So we'll be watching for that and anticipate that. You should prepare for that. Those aren't the kind of winds that will damage structures necessarily, but they certainly can howl through the rafters of your home and sound like they're extremely strong winds. They can also lift up things like garbage can lids and porch umbrellas, things like that. So a good time to go around and police your home. You got a couple of days to do that. Lower those porch umbrellas. Make sure your garbage can lids are safe and secure. We'll also see some storm bands moving through the area. And those will be coming up as the system lifts through the Gulf waters. And potentially we could see some fairly heavy rainfall around here, maybe 1 to 3 inch rainfalls in a fairly short period of time over just a couple of days. We'll see how that goes. Luckily, we've had some dry weather over the course of the last few days. Obviously, terrible boating weather. Small craft advisory up, rip current advisory up, high surf advisories up. Winds east at about 20 will become stronger than that. 2 to 4 foot seas now could become 10-foot seas as we head into Tuesday night and into Wednesday. These are the Wednesday tides that we will be watching. 2 of them in particular. High tide in the afternoon at 1:08 on Wednesday, and another one at in the morning at 1:08, and another one in the afternoon at 2:28. Those 2 tides could be certainly higher than normal by 2 to 3 feet. We'll also watch the rain shower chances increase to about 90% on Wednesday. And then it'll all be over as we head into Thursday and Friday. The winds will start to relax, and we'll be looking at clearer skies and more average temperatures. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. In consumer news today, Uber and Lyft are offering a unique service this Election Day. The rideshare apps are offering free and discounted rides to the polls on November 6th. Lyft is working with Vote.org and TurboVote to provide users with discounted rides, as well as partnering with the nonpartisan nonprofit group Vote Latino. Uber is working with #VoteTogether and Democracy Works to provide similar options for voters. Ford will reduce its headcount as part of its plan to give its business a shot in the arm. The automaker planned to reduce its global salaried workforce in an effort to trim costs. But there's no word yet on how many jobs will be eliminated or when it will happen. The automaker's shares have dropped 26% this year. Ford says its North American division is doing well, but the company has been struggling in Asia and in Europe. It's getting tougher to find 0% interest deals for new cars. With interest rates on the rise, car companies have started to pull back on that. No interest loans made up less than 3.5% of all new car deals last month. That's down from about 10% of deals just 2 years ago. Tesla's Model 3 isn't just the safest vehicle on the roads now, it's the safest ever. According to Tesla, the Model 3 achieved a perfect 5-star rating in every category. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration agrees it has the lowest probability of injury of any car ever tested. The test was part of the administration's new car assessment program. It tests the likelihood of serious body injury from front, side, and rollover crashes. Still to come in your Suncoast News, a legendary actor's career is being honored in a big way. Plus, an artist who's known for his stunts may have just pulled off the most perfect art world prank yet.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework.
He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
I'm a Florida voter.
I want to make sure my voice is heard.
Here in Florida,
we have 3 ways to vote.
Vote by mail.
Early voting.
And voting at the polls on Election Day.
Make sure your voice is heard.
I'm Secretary of State Ken Detzner. Get ready, get set, vote.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. Talk with your doctor to create a treatment plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Coming up later today on ABC 7 News at 4, we're going to have the latest on Hurricane Michael, his potential impacts on the Suncoast as it heads to the Florida Panhandle later this week. Plus, Mote Marine Lab is beginning its air quality test program for red tide toxins, how far they reach inland. We hope you'll join us this afternoon at 4 o'clock. In entertainment news, good news for an Oscar-winning actor in a classic musical, bad news for fans of a certain rapper. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
A big honor for a legendary actor. Denzel Washington is the next recipient of the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award. The AFI plans to honor the Oscar winner at a gala next June in Los Angeles. Sorry, Iggy Azalea fans, most of the rapper's North American tour is canceled. Promoter Live Nation announced the news about the Bad Girls Tour, which was set to kick off October 27th in Florida. Azalea tweeted she was disappointed, adding, "The choice was out of my hands and not my call to make." No word why the tour was canceled.
I spent many late nights working on my music.
Ansel Elgort is going from driving to singing and dancing. The Baby Driver star has been cast as Tony, leader of the Jets, in Steven Spielberg's big screen take on West Side Story. He's stepping into some big shoes. The original 1957 Broadway musical won 2 Tony Awards, and the 1961 film adaptation won 10 Oscars, including Best Picture. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Meghan McCain returning to The View today. The 33-year-old tweeting this last night, writing, quote, "Looking forward to seeing my amazing co-host and the wonderful View audience tomorrow morning. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the love and support. Here's to always getting back on the horse." McCain has been away for more than a month now since the death of her father, Senator John McCain. She was welcomed back warmly today. Finally, the anonymous artist called Banksy is known for his stunts, and he may have just pulled off the most perfect art world prank. His work, Girl with Balloon, sold for $1.4 million Friday at Sotheby's auction house in London. But moments after the gavel fell, look at that, it was reduced to shreds. He had hidden a shredder inside of the frame, which caused the work to partially self-destruct. Banksy himself posted a picture of stunned patrons watching as the shredder did its work, along with the words, "Going, going, gone." I was reading today, John, that the artwork may be worth even more now.
Get out.
Because of the stunt, and it wasn't completely shredded.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. How about that?
Unbelievable. See, I thought the guy who bought it for $2 million would be angry. No. Now he's probably happy, right?
See you again at 4 o'clock. Have a great day.